He's disabled, not disposable. That's what Clint Eastwood growled, just seconds after a powerful CEO publicly humiliated a wheelchair-bound worker in front of dozens of silent employees. The CEO had sneered, "You're slowing down my entire operation. Maybe you should have stayed home." The worker didn't even look up. He just tried to keep packing boxes with his one functioning arm, his face burning red. No one moved. No one spoke. Until Clint stepped forward, slowly removing his jacket, eyes locked on the man in charge. "You think power is about shouting at the weak?" he asked, calm but deadly. "Let me show you what real strength looks like." Phones came out. The room shifted. And then Clint leaned in and whispered just loud enough, "You just messed with the wrong man, and the wrong moment in history." By the time the clip of Clint's confrontation hit the internet, it had already crossed 2 million views within hours. People weren't just shocked, they were furious. Headlines exploded. Hollywood legend confronts CEO over abuse of disabled worker. But behind the scenes, Clint was already 3 steps ahead. He contacted a nonprofit advocating for disabled employees, donated anonymously, and asked one simple question: "What do you need to make this stop everywhere?" Meanwhile, the CEO, still clueless about the firestorm, tried issuing a half-hearted apology. But Clint posted one sentence on his old Twitter account: "We don't want your sorry. We want your system gone." That post alone got over 1 million likes in 8 hours. But the real twist came when several former employees came forward, claiming the CEO had a pattern of mistreatment, even tampering with health insurance claims. Suddenly, it wasn't just a social media outrage, it was a legal case. And Clint? He wasn't done. Clint walked into the labor board hearing with zero fanfare, no entourage, just evidence. A worn-out folder full of statements, screenshots, and audio clips, testimonies from dozens of former employees who had stayed silent for years. But not anymore. The moment Clint placed the folder on the table, the room shifted. One board member whispered, This is bigger than we thought." Clint leaned forward and said quietly, "They were threatened. Fired. Some even lost access to their medical benefits just for speaking up." Meanwhile, across the country, thousands rallied outside the company's headquarters. Protesters held signs that read, "Dignity isn't optional," and "We stand with the worker." But then came the real explosion. An internal whistleblower leaked emails showing the CEO had personally approved cost-cutting policies that targeted disabled and elderly workers. Overnight, the stock price collapsed. Shareholders demanded the CEO resign. And just when everyone thought the story was over, a buried security video surfaced. It showed the same CEO mocking a blind employee months earlier, laughing as others joined in. News anchors across the country fell silent as Clint Eastwood walked onto a live press stage, not to promote a movie but to announce something no one expected. "I'm starting a fund," he said. "Not for lawsuits, for liberation, for every worker silenced by greed." The Disabled Workers Defense Alliance was born that day, with Clint pledging the first $10 million, and the crowd erupted. But just minutes after his announcement, a reporter rushed him with breaking news. The CEO had just fled the country. Authorities confirmed he boarded a private jet hours before his resignation was leaked to the media. Clint didn't flinch. He looked straight into the camera and said, "Run all you want. The world already saw who you are." That one line, "The world already saw who you are," became a rallying cry. Merchandise, murals, and protest signs across continents carried his words. Even Hollywood, which had stayed quiet, finally spoke out. Dozens of A-list stars voiced their support, and studios began launching internal audits. But as the movement surged, a confidential letter reached Clint's team. Signed only with an initial. It warned of something darker, a group of high-level executives tied to the same abusive network, spanning multiple corporations. Clint held the letter in his hand, staring at the single initial signed at the bottom. M. The words inside weren't just a warning, they were a challenge. It detailed connections between top executives from healthcare, tech, and logistics companies, all funneling money into the same dark system that had protected the CEO he exposed. Clint didn't hesitate. That night, during a televised interview, he dropped the bomb. This isn't just one company, this is an organized web, and I'm going to light a match to it. The fallout was immediate. Government officials launched investigations, whistleblowers flooded hotlines, and stock markets trembled. But Clint wasn't done. He released the full letter publicly and promised to testify before Congress. The hearing room was packed. Millions watched live as Clint read the final lines of the whistleblower's note aloud. They think the world will forget. I hope you remind them. He looked up, stared directly into the camera, and said, "To every worker who's ever been humiliated, overlooked, or broken down, you're not invisible. You never were." The room rose in applause. The internet broke. And somewhere out there, M watched in silence, knowing the war had just begun. What if the most powerful movement in modern history started not with a politician, but with a man who simply refused to stay quiet? Now you tell us, if you saw this happening at your job, and would you speak up or stay silent?